Hey guys, what's up? Student Presentation 3 here with Timothy McNeil. We were just asked to choose a couple Disney movies. The three I chose was Road to El Dorado, Tangled, and Sleeping Beauty. The first one, Tangled, we'll talk about how all the apples disappeared at the end of the movie. The horse became the captain of the guard and ate all the apples because apparently the guard bribes the horse with the apples, so there's no more apples in the kingdom. Say there's 100 apples. I'm going to write this down for our supply and demand curve. Say there's 100 apples, and suddenly we have less apples. So our supply is a lot less, but the demand is still high. So when the supply is less and the demand is high, that means the price increases because the people want to pay more for the apples because there's not as many. And I assume people still like apples because they're delicious. Delicious. So our supply curve will be, say they're originally at $10. Well, since there's less, the sellers will move them up to $20 so they still make their quota for growing apples. So that means that the supply is low, but the demand is high. So our supply and demand curve will meet around here somewhere in this diagram. Okay. The second example we're taking is The Road to El Dorado. In this movie, two Spanish fellows go off to El Dorado, and when they get here, they get a boatload of gold, pun intended. And with that boatload, they plan to take that boatload and sail back to Spain across the ocean. And by doing that, they're going to flood Spanish economics with tons and tons of gold from the South American culture. And when they do that, there'll be so many more gold than the actual number before. People will say, well, it's not that much of a rarity anymore. We don't want it as much, so we're not going to pay as much for it. And so the suppliers will start losing money, which isn't a good, or the gold will start losing value, which isn't a good thing. So that supply and demand curve will plummet. So we'll have a huge supply, so it'll be at 100 pieces of gold, and I'll move way up to say, there's a bunch on that boat, so say that moves up to 500 pieces of gold. And when that happens, the price will drop, so it'll be much lower and closer to the beginning of this. So I have the demand and supply curve. So say it'll move down this way, so it'll be much smaller than originally. I'll erase that. Our third and final example is Sleeping Beauty. This is a great story. In it, the princess falls asleep by pricking her needle on a spinning wheel. But before she pricks it, the king and queen want to prevent it, so they burn all the spinning wheels, which, because spinning wheels produce cloth, plummets the price of cloth in the kingdom. So now there's a kingdom which has hundreds of people in it without a means to make cloth by the fast method of a spinning wheel. They'll have to use things like hand spun and woven stuff because things that don't involve needles. So now the supply hasn't changed much because people are still making them, but the method of making them has increased in hardship, so the price will go up because of the difficulty in making them. This is one of the things that changes the supply and demand curve, the difficulty and the how well things are made, so the quality, difficulty of making them, that changes it. So in this case, the supply and demand curve, the amount will stay the same, but the price will go up. So it was at say $10 per bushel, which is a roll of cloth, to $15 per bushel. So it used to be here. It used to be down here at $10, or it would be up here at 100, and now it's at $15. Now it's like that. So in this case, it goes up. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in class. Oh, before you go, my sources were the movie Tangled, the movie Road to El Dorado, and the movie Sleeping Beauty, and they're all produced by Disney. Great movies. You should watch them sometime. See you guys in class.